guys are doing well, and today I decided to do something a bit different. Lately I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube about scary experiences and paranormal experiences. I can't speak. Paranormal experiences. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. They're all over, they're really popular, and a thought came into my head. I was like, hey, I have something kind of paranormal-ish to talk about. Like, why not talk about it on my channel? And so I thought, let's talk about it. So it's gonna be kind of, I guess, a story time, which is funny because I've never done that before. So we'll see how I do. Because I do not like to script my videos because I think that's not good. I feel like scripted videos are obviously scripted, and it just doesn't seem like you're being yourself. I want to be as real as possible, so I'm not going to script my videos. So there might be a lot of editing going on in this video, but let's begin, shall we? First, I'm going to give you a rundown of the place that I went to a lot when I was younger, when me and my family lived in a different area, and that's the place where all these things happened. Second, I am going to talk about my feelings with the place and what happened to me. Keep in mind that I didn't see a ghost, I didn't have any weird paranormal happenings, but it's still interesting to me and I thought you guys would like it. And lastly, I'm going to tell you about my family's experience in this place. Okay, so we went to a restaurant, a very old restaurant that used to be a hotel that was apparently around 100 years old, or maybe even older than that. And we went there to eat because it was a restaurant, of course. And it was about 30 minutes out of the city that we lived in. So it was kind of out of the way, so it wasn't always crowded. It was very quiet there. The people there were so nice. And so we went there quite a lot. It was Cajun, which is really awesome. You don't really find a whole bunch of Cajun restaurants around. And the people there were so sweet. They were so nice. They were the owners, and they also actually lived there, so that's pretty cool. But so I'm going to try and tell you as best as I can what this place looked like. I'm gonna try to keep it as simple as possible, so as not to confuse you guys, because I mean, it was a big building, so I'm just gonna keep it as simple as I possibly can. So this building was basically out in the middle of nowhere, and it was red, okay? It was painted red, and it had very large windows in the front. It was just a flat front, and it had the entrance right in the middle. And there was also an added-on area that was not the original building. It was added on later, and it was kind of like a smaller, little house right next to it. And so yeah, just keep that in mind because I'm going to be talking about that later. You see the entryway. You walk in to the front door, and it is this little entryway with kind of a merch area, where you buy shirts and stuff, on the left side of the front door. On the right side of the front door, there was a glass cage with an alligator in it, which was just super awesome, and people would go up there and, check the alligator out and, hang out up there. It was really cool. The people there were awesome about it, and yeah, I remember always wanting to go and see that alligator when I was younger. So you have your merch area on the left side, your alligator on the right side, and then you walk maybe 2 feet or so, and in front of you you have your stairs going up to the second floor. Now you go past the stairs and you go into the dining area with this awesome cool bar. It was huge, and the ceilings are extremely high, very tall ceilings, because the second floor was one of those floors where there's like a balcony going around down to the first floor, so you can see, you know, the second floor up above you. And it was basically going around the entire building from, you know, the staircase to the right side of the building, and it ended there. And so it was really cool. It was a cool building. It had red, very dark red painted walls. It had these huge, beautiful windows that had these really cool old curtains on them. And going back to the staircase, now the staircase is near the front area of the building, and if you go past that staircase, right past it, and you turn, you say like the staircase is right here, right next to you, and you turn left, and then you turn left again, and you're going down a hallway that goes into the restrooms. Now, I'm telling you this because this was relevant to the whole story. Say you're next to the staircase again, right next to you, the staircase is right here, and you take a few steps forward and you're going to go outside into this kind of courtyard area. And it was really cool because you could see like the rest of the building kind of wrapped around this courtyard. So it left like this one side was open and the rest of them were covered by the building. So the building kind of wrapped around like this and left this open area back here. I remember going out there and always feeling really creeped out, but we'll get back to that a little later. So I hope that gives you kind of a rundown of the area. It was a really cool old building. As I already stated, it used to be a hotel. It was apparently over 100 years old. The family who lived there and owned the building and owned the restaurant were very used to the ghosts there. And I use the quotation marks because of the fact that, I mean, I never saw anything, but it made me think because of how I felt about the place and what happened to my family there. It was a pretty creepy place. I remember when I was little, okay, and this is the first kind of little story thing. When I was younger, keep in mind, this was years ago. Even the last time we were there, it was over 3 years ago. So I was like 17, almost 18, maybe, the last time we were there, but we went there a lot, and the place that we used to live, we lived for over 10 years there, over 12 years, like a long time. So keep that in mind. I was younger. And every time I went into this building, I felt like this really eerie feeling. It's very hard to describe to someone who's never felt it before. I know, like, people who have dealt with paranormal things, who have lived in the haunted house or whatever, know what this feels like, and it's very difficult to describe to someone who doesn't know what it's like. It's like you go in the building, and it's like the air is heavy. The air is really heavy, and it's like weighing you down, and so you feel like you almost can't breathe easily. It's a very eerie, very strange feeling. You feel like you're walking into somebody else's house, and that somebody doesn't want you there. And the creepy thing about this feeling, when I walked in this building, and when we were having dinner, everything, it never left. The feeling was always there from the time we walked in to the time we walked out. And the creepiest part of this feeling, okay, was the fact that I felt like there were other people or things in this building that I couldn't see. Like other things there that I didn't know that were actually there that didn't want me there. Okay, so that's creepy, that's weird, right? And I swear to God, I'm not making this up, I have never in my life felt this feeling anywhere else other than that place. What makes that even creepier is the fact that that is the only allegedly haunted place I've ever been in. So, yeah, that's pretty terrifying, and it kind of validated my feelings when we ended up eating dinner one time in the Added-On area that I told you guys about. This place was made like years and years after the original building like actually shut down, when like after it wasn't a hotel anymore, you know, like it became a restaurant. These people bought it. I believe it was abandoned and just sat there for a while before they got their hands on it. But so this Added-On area is very new, and I remember one time they had moved the dining area into this new area, which used to be the 21 and up area, and so we were eating dinner in there, and I remember feeling completely normal in that area. There was no weird feeling. I even went into the bathrooms by myself, because the bathrooms in the original building were just terrifying to me. Like, I would not go in them by myself. Keep in mind, I was very young, so it wasn't weird for me to, you know, want my mom to come in and accompany me. I remember, like, last time I asked my mom to, like, stay in the bathroom with me, I was, like, 11, so, you know, it wasn't a big deal. But then I got older, and I refused to go to the bathroom there. But when we were dining in the Added-On area, I went into the bathroom and it was just fine, and it felt normal. I was like, this is weird. Like, it occurred to me later that, like, I didn't feel creeped out. I didn't feel this weird feeling at all in that area. And then the next time we went back, they had moved the dining area back to the original building, and that feeling was still there. Like, it was there. Like, it had never left. So that was really weird to me, especially considering the fact that that's the only allegedly haunted place I've ever been in, and that's where I feel that. Now, I'm not a big believer in the whole psychic kind of thing. Like, I'm a believer in the paranormal. I believe in ghosts, but the psychic thing is just too weird for me, you know? Well, that kind of made me think. I was like, you know, this is the only place I felt this feeling, and it's apparently haunted by, the owners say it was haunted by multiple spirits that, you know, talk all the time, they make noise, they move things, they see them, they get touched, like, all these crazy things. And so I was like, does this mean something? I mean, like, you know, like, what does this mean? The whole psychic thing I mentioned because it is kind of relevant in, you know, the next story that I'm gonna tell you guys, because that next story is really, it creeped me out. I mean, just telling it to you guys, you're probably gonna be like, why is she making this up for views, you know? I stand by what I say, okay? I am not making this up. I would never lie about things like this, because I know people do deal with this thing. I know people, like, have felt the need to leave their house because something is inhabiting it and they feel like they can't do anything. Like, I know this is a big issue for people, and I would never lie about that. And I wouldn't lie about anything anyways, like, ever. Like, lying is just not a good thing to do. Like, don't lie. Like, you know, you lie and then people are just not gonna believe you anymore, right? So I am completely honest here. I'm not telling any lies. I am telling you exactly how I remember it. So just a heads up, I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. I'm sorry I keep looking over this way. There's kind of like sun kind of just shooting into my eye, shooting into my face. Like, it's like, hey, how you doing? Like, it's kind of annoying. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to stop doing that. But anyways, let's get back to the story, okay? The last story that I have was when my family, okay, my aunt, my uncle, my 2 cousins, and then my mom, dad, and my brother and me all went to this restaurant. And keep in mind, I'm not giving away the name or anything because, like, if I don't have permission to release information about something, I'm not going to do it. And I know they have been very, very discreet about this kind of thing, and so I wouldn't want to, you know, do something like that to them because I feel like that's not right. So I'm just going to keep it very anonymous. So this restaurant that I've been talking about, my family and I decided to go eat here on Halloween night. So the reason we went to this restaurant on Halloween was because of the fact that our neighborhood, like, was literally the most crowded neighborhood known to man on Halloween. Like, literally. Every kid in the entire city, I swear to God, came to our neighborhood. Like, it was the neighborhood. It was like, go to that neighborhood. That's where you get the best candy, apparently. Like, I don't know. And it got to the point where he would see people twice or 3 times. And then my dad, who was usually the one who would answer the door, was like, I'm sorry, like, I can't give you more candy. Like, you already came here. Like, this is not fair for other people. Like, what are you doing? So that night we just decided to just, you know, just leave, just go somewhere else. So, you know, we closed our blinds, we turned our lights on, we did everything we had to do, locked up the house, and we went to this restaurant with our family. I mean, it was pretty awesome because it was the most cliche thing ever. Like, it was a perfect Halloween night. It was stormy outside, okay? Like, a storm was starting, like, legit, like, thunderstorm. It was windy. It was gray, it was gloomy, and then we're going to eat at this place that's supposedly extremely haunted. Like, we're like, oh yeah, let's do it. So we get there, and we walk in the door, and again, I have that horrible, eerie, creepy feeling, and I'm like, great, this is awesome, you know, like, whatever. And, you know, they say, hey, like, what's up, we've been there many times before, so they knew who we were, and it's a seat yourself place, so you can sit wherever you want. I mean, there aren't really too many people there ever, because it's kind of desolate, like, it's just out in the middle of nowhere, and so we decided to sit by this big window, one of these huge windows that I told you about earlier. And so, you know, we sit down and, you know, we start talking about how this place is supposedly, you know, haunted and all this stuff, and we're, you know, talking, and we're talking about other stuff. We're just chatting away, and I remember after some time, my aunt decided to get up and go and see the alligator. And so she walks over to the alligator's glass cage. And keep in mind that the cage was right in the corner of the front area of this building, okay? So if you're facing the actual front door, this alligator cage is on the left side. It's taking up the whole corner. So when you are facing this alligator cage, your back is facing out to this big area, right? And so that's where my aunt was. She was standing like that. She had her back to this big area. There was nobody there. Nobody next to her, behind her, okay? This is important to remember. There was nobody next to her, close to her. No one. She was the only one there looking at this alligator. And so, you know, we're still over the table. We're talking. We're having fun. And my aunt finally comes over and she's like, okay, like, keep in mind, my aunt is a skeptic. A complete skeptic. Like, she doesn't believe this kind of thing. And she's like, I swear to God, I'm not making this up, somebody just touched me in my back. I'm like, what? Like, she said it was like somebody was like going like this. They weren't doing it hard, but you know, it was enough for her to notice it. And she said she like looked back thinking like somebody's gonna be there. It was that obvious. And we're like, are you kidding me? Like, you know. And so I was kind of freaked out after that. I mean, I was young. I already had that horrible feeling. So we get our food, and after we eat our food, we're just, you know, looking around, we're talking, we're having fun, like we're just taking our time because this is a great building, it's super cool. Like, I really liked it, even though it gave me the creepiest feeling. I really enjoyed being there, which was weird, but yeah. So I remember my uncle was saying, and I'm not kidding you on this, okay? I'm being completely serious. You know, when you think in your head and you can see somebody in your mind, right? My uncle was like, I can see this guy in my head looking down at us in the stage area. And so up above the alligator cage was a small stage that was on the second level of the building, and that's where he perceived this guy being. And that kind of creeped me out. I mean, I was younger and I was like, what? And so the night kind of carries on, okay, and we end up talking to the owners of the place, okay? So this husband of this wife is the cook there, and the wife is a waitress, and they have like their sons and daughters working there too. So we're talking to the wife, and my aunt ends up bringing up the point in the night where she was touched, right? And this is creepy, but the lady was like, oh, yeah, like that's, she actually had a name for this guy, but I can't remember what it was. She was like, oh yeah, that's blah blah blah. He stands over there by the alligator cage and touches people. He's just trying to get their attention, right? And my aunt was like, what? This guy walks around touching people. And where he touches people the most is near the alligator cage. I kid you not. And that's where she was touched. Okay. Now, what's even more freaky to me is what my uncle was talking about, right? About the whole perceiving this guy watching people up from the stage. And so he mentioned that, and they're like, oh yeah, that's this guy who just stands in that area, stands on the stage, and watches people. Okay? And my uncle also thought like, oh, like, I see him wearing a cane, and he knew exactly what he was wearing, and he was describing it to this woman, and she was like, oh yeah, that's what he wore when he was alive. I know, that's really creepy. And yeah, so it creeps me out just talking about it, but that's my story, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So if you like this video, I will do more of these kind of story time videos, and if you have any experiences you want to share, please share them in my comments section. If you have an opinion on my story, please share it as well. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching. Bye!